So this is version 5 of the Aorus X3. It's actually a pretty nice laptop, and we're going to take a look at all the different sort of features. But basically it's an i7-6700HQ, it's also got a GTX 970M, and it's overall pretty powerful. Stick around for some more info. Check out TechteamGB.co.uk for more awesome news, reviews and other stuff, including more information on this product and many more. Stick around for this awesome video. So despite being a 14 or basically 13.9 inch laptop, this actually still packs a pretty big punch. It's got an i7-6700HQ as well as a GTX 970M, and it's actually pretty thin as well at 23mm or basically an inch. It's also not much thicker than my phone. In terms of I/O, you've got front side mounted speakers, USB Type-C port, headphone microphone jack, USB 3 ports, an HDMI port and a mini display port, as well as a Kensington lock. The power button on the right hand side can get brushed a little bit easily, but otherwise you've got two USB 3 ports and an SD card slot, as well as the other right hand side speaker. On the back you've got some pretty awesome looking ventilation, as well as a full size RJ45 port, which is really nice, and the power adapter. And by the way, the power brick is actually pretty small, pretty slim, and has a USB port if you want to charge your phone at the same time, which is actually really nice. In terms of the build quality of the laptop, it did feel very sturdy, very nice to sort of have in hand or on your lap, and generally speaking, it feels pretty well built. In terms of the actual touchpad, this is a little bit strange because the last sort of generation had a sort of glossy touchpad, which I don't think I like too much, but this one is still a little bit iffy, although it does have a actual tactile button area on the bottom for left and right mouse clicks, which make it a lot better. Now the keyboard is actually pretty good in terms of layout, and the macro keys are nice for gamers, but the actual keyboard typing experience isn't all that great. The screen is UHD or 3200 by 1800, so basically kind of macro retina type thing, and looks really good, although you will be using text scaling around about 200 to 300%, give or take what you kind of like the look of. The screen is actually very nice to look at in terms of both color accuracy, from my eye at least, and viewing angles as well, so I was very impressed with that overall. In terms of gaming on this thing, it's a very responsive experience if you run it at 1080p or run the games at 1080p, as opposed to running it at the full 3200 by 1800, because if you run it at that, it's going to be rather difficult. In terms of actual FPS numbers, you're looking at around about somewhere between 50 and 70 FPS, with a sort of average of 60 FPS on most games on ultra settings, which is actually pretty nice, as obviously that's the cap of the screen and you won't be able to see much more. Far Cry 4 did dip a little bit down to 44, and GTA was actually a surprise with relatively high settings, not full settings, but definitely relatively high, and that was sitting at around about 70 or 72 to be precise. Other than that, as I said, it is a really nice experience. In terms of temperatures, you're looking at about 70 degrees under full gaming load if you're on a desktop, or actually on a hard surface. If you have it on something like your lap or a bed, it might be a little bit higher, around about the 80 mark, but it's not too hot to touch on the top, which is pretty nice. So I checked out the V3 version of this laptop last year, and it was quite interesting. I did have a couple of complaints, but they seem to be mostly addressed, although there are kind of some new issues, so I'll go over that in a second. But first of all, I've got to say that the main thing for me is that it seems a little bit quieter. Now, it's not the whisper quiet laptop or even, completely silent like, say, the new MacBook Air or the MacBook, but at the same time, it's a lot more powerful than that, so that's pretty awesome. And I don't know whether the noise sort of savings have just come from the 6700HQ and the 970M being more power efficient or what, but I must say that it does seem a little bit better. Also, in terms of temperatures, on a desk, it's around about 70 degrees average, peaking at around about 80 if you have it, say, on your lap or on a non-hard surface. But for 70 degrees on the full sort of gaming load, that's pretty nice. In terms of battery life, I was seeing 4.5 to sort of 5 hours depending on what I was doing on general web browsing, and around about an hour to 2 if you plan on gaming while on battery. Now, other than that, the connectivity on this is really nice. The overall experience is quite nice, although actually I'm not a huge fan of the keyboard. It's not necessarily the layout isn't great. In fact, that's probably the best layout I've sort of seen besides the half height up and down arrows. And the macro keys are a really nice thing if you are gaming, or even if you're not and you're just doing something like spreadsheet work in it or whatever as well, and you have macros that you want to run for that. But at the same time, the actual keyboard feel, and I'm not sure that I have the entire expertise to be able to tell you exactly what's not quite great, but it doesn't feel as nice as, for example, an MSI keyboard, even though the MSI keyboards have the weird Windows layout and generally don't come in the ISO or the British layout, which annoys me personally. Other than that, the trackpad was okay. I did find it a little bit difficult to just tap click, although having the tactile bar along the bottom for left and right clicks, even though that is one bar, still actually worked pretty well. Two finger scrolling can be a little bit difficult to actually get happening, but once you do, it's fairly okay. It's, you know, a decent enough laptop to use. I'd personally carry a mouse around with it. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and generally if you're gaming on this, you're probably going to want to do that anyway. But it's definitely a very capable laptop, and if you're interested in a very small, possibly premium end gaming laptop, then this is definitely something you should check out. Now I'm hoping if I can pester Razer enough to get a sample of the blade so I can compare these a bit better, so feel free to pester Razer for me if you'd like to see a review of that. But other than that, in terms of, I guess that's the pros and cons. So scoring, as I said, value for money is going to be quite hard to derive because I can't really find too much on real world pricing details at the moment, but it seems to be around about a 4 in what I've seen. In terms of performance, it has to be a 5 for this size and the overall sort of temperatures and stuff like that, as well as the FPS you get. It's awesome. Functionality, I think I'm going to go with a 4 just because the actual user interface, aka the keyboard and touchpad, aren't the best I've used. Great English there, I know, but other than that, it's pretty awesome. Styling, I'm going to go for a 4 because it's a very stylish thing and I do like the look of it, but it isn't as kind of ostentatious and show-offy as, again, some like the MSI laptops or even some of the Asus laptops as well. So that's kind of in between. In terms of TechteamGB score, I'm going to go for a 4. In terms of awards, I'm going to give it the silver award because it is a really nice laptop. It does seem to be a little bit expensive from what I've seen, although as I said, availability is pretty hard to find, so it may just be that once this laptop is a little bit you know, more pushed out into market, it might be more available cheaper. But other than that, it does seem like a really awesome, really capable, small, portable, pretty light laptop. And I'm pretty impressed. So yeah, if you've got any comments or any suggestions on things that I should cover, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Feel free to check out my Amazon affiliate links, by the way, if you're picking up this or anything else. It doesn't have to be tech related. It genuinely, as I say, is actually helping me pay the rent. So if you could check out those links, it'd be really awesome. Yeah, other than that, these videos are up 7 days early, so if you want to check out Vessel, there's a link down below as well for a month-long free trial. And other than that, feel free to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, as I said, feel free to like and subscribe. And other than that, we'll see you all in the next one.